So I've got one costume done and one more to go, and just a few more days to make it happen. I've got a lot of odds and ends to finish up my Mandalorian, and this is the one that I eventually want to go for 501st approval. So I can't cut any corners. I want to do it and do it right, but I've got to do it in the amount of time allowed. So here goes nothing. I'm going to try and finish my Mandalorian on today's Try to Finish Something. All right, so I've got quite a few things to wrap up for my Mandalorian. I've got to make a Velcro attachment to secure the cape to the back of the chest armor. The knee armor needs straps and the appropriate figure 8 style silver buckle along the back. I have to attach my grab charges to the belt. Blinky grab charges. I made these with flashing car door markers that turn off with a magnet. The hip armor also has to get attached. Then this leather by Daniel Signs is amazing. It's really, really amazing, but this holster is a bit stiff, and I want to wrinkle this up a little bit. Oh, and my beautiful blaster. It's real metal and has that firing trigger, which I have read is a Comic-Con no-no. So I have this Ruby's blaster that I'm going to paint just the ends to see if that gets me through the door. I read that it has to obviously be fake from 50 feet away, so if I paint just the ends and leave the middle of the Ruby's terrible orange and white, will that pass? I don't know. I'm not sure, but I guess we'll find out together. Oh, and the back and butt armor. I need to make attachments for those. Let me mask the blaster first before I start on the hip attachments. I have some reference images that I've got to figure out the spacing on where everything goes on the belt. So I dug through the bolts that I have, and I only have these that are standard slot. They aren't Phillips, which is a Star Wars no-no. It's a long story. But they are too long. Not going to go buy new ones because every time I go to the hardware store and drop screws or bolts into the cart, I get that, "Don't you have enough screws and bolts already?" And to save myself that conversation, I'm going to just cut these down and file the rough edges so that I can get the nuts on them. I would like to apologize to Daniel Signs and any other leather workers that are out there. My punch is broken, so I'm going to drill the holes in the leather, and then I'm going to use my soldering iron to cauterize the holes and make it smooth. I know, bad use of electrical and the drill, but this is what I'm going to do. So the nut on the bolt, when tightened, pulls itself through the rubber hip plate. And it needs a washer on the leather side and on the hip plate side so that it has more surface area to squeeze. Guess what? My wife was right. If I had bought the short bolts, they would have been wrong. And I've got to cut some again, this time longer. The old measure twice and cut once, I obviously decided it was eyeball once and cut 6 times. Idiot. Look, revenge of the bolt. Angry it was cut wrong. Back to cutting bolts. I'm also going to paint the heads of the bolts and the outside washers just so that it blends in a little bit better. And let's try and reattach everything again. That looks pretty good with these painted bolts. Now to completely cover them with the grab charge holder so that it doesn't matter. But you guys know how good they looked. I'm going to wet the leather with a chip brush and then leave it in some clamps while I have lunch and let it dry and see if it will hold some of those folds. pretty good. Looks like it worked and held some of those wrinkles. Next, on to work on the strap for the knee and that figure 8-shaped buckle. I'll glue the strap to the inside of the knee armor, so one side of the strap and then add Velcro to the other. Done. I might later add Velcro to keep it in place on the pants knee. Yeah, we'll see. Almost forgot. I need to add the Velcro mate to the glove side of the hand plate. So I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on the Velcro in the middle. This would never hold it, but it'll hold it long enough for me to hand sew around the Velcro. I told you there were a lot of little things to do, and I'm marathoning my way through it. Watching me hand sew is fun. Ooh, the reward? 2 thumbs up from Mando Gloves. Alright, I have to add Velcro to the inside of the back armor and the butt plate. I like to over-glue. I add epoxy in the center and then apply a crap ton of hot glue around the edges, overlapping the Velcro. Then I'm marking out where it hits the back of the Mando vest and sewing again. Very manly sewing. And voila! Back armor. To get the cape to stay in the correct orientation, I have the 2 sides of the Velcro in a T shape, maybe a J. Anyway, I'm adding Velcro to the edges so that it will stick to the back of the chest armor and stay in place. Ooh, did you see the J? Looks good. All right, almost done. I think I have just the Ruby's blaster to finish up. I painted the butt of the blaster with a high-temperature black paint, which is my favorite, and then painted the barrel end with silver. Time for some weathering. I'm back to using the old reliable silver rub and buff and some oil brown and black, and lightly weathering the edges and using my other blaster as reference. Now, for the wood grain handle, I'm painting with oil-based and water-based paints on purpose. See, they don't blend well, and when dry, leaves a bit of a streaky effect. Streaky, wood grain, see where I'm going? I'm also dry brushing with a lighter tan to bring out more of the contrast. I was going to hit the brass parts with brass rub and buff, but this will come as no shock. You've seen the garage. I couldn't find it. So I'm using this Sharpie paint pen for the trigger and the accents. Here's a quick shot for comparison. I'll bring it outside to fully dry, then hit it with a matte clear varnish to seal it. God, this really pains me to not completely paint it. The white and the orange are hurting my heart. Remember the purpose, Sean. Remember the purpose. Now, the question. Did I finish everything in time for the Comic-Con? Here I am in my full Mando with my budget Jawa entering the SAC Anime swap meet. We got everything done and in time, and everything went fairly smooth. I learned a few things I need to adjust. I broke my vibro blade getting dressed in the parking lot, and my shin armor really kept digging into my foot by the end of the day, but this was actually the first time I tried it all on together, and it went great. I met a ton of really nice people, and everyone was wearing masks and keeping safe. It was a great day. And speaking of people, got to hang out with an old friend, Odin of Odin Makes. His Mecha Godzilla is coming out fantastic. We even made it onto the KCRA News.
This is only the second convention that I've been to. My daughter's into anime.
Sean Cash spent a year crafting his 3D printed Star Wars look by hand, but his young daughter Elena steals the show.
I wanted to just dress up.
This a toned down version of the traditional SAC Anime Fest that normally happens every year. Organizers calling this a swap meet instead. And convention organizers also work to create more space between vendors to create that room for social distancing. Just check out how wide the aisles are in here.
And I think that it's important for people to be able to get out and to socially distance but still be able to enjoy themselves. And everybody's got masks on. I've got a giant mask on.
All that work, all that hard work, and when my Mandalorian costume makes the news, my neck seal there comes out of my shirt and is flopping around below the helmet looking like steamy hot crap. My wife was trying to signal that it was out, but I was on camera and it was too late. Overall, we had a great time, and now I will try and get 501st approval. But right now, I did it. It took a year, but I finished something. Oh, God. That neck seal.